What's up? What's up? We're here with another episode of BoomBox Weekly.
You're listening to BoomBox Weekly.
What's up, family? Back in the building with another dope episode of BoomBox Weekly. I'm Omar Cook, and we got a dope filmmaker here with us, man. I'm here with my dope host.
No, what's up, y'all? Another episode. We about to get into some tea.
Yes, and we are here with some black excellence, man. My man comes here from Brooklyn, New York. I'm all the way out here in Hollywood doing it big for Black Hollywood. Troy Skinner, man, what's going on, bro? Welcome to the pod, bro.
Thank you. No.
Welcome. We are
Appreciate
so glad
you
to
guys.
have you today.
Thank you
Yes,
for having
sir.
me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I mean, looking like black excellence, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me borrow the shades, bro.
Hey, big shout out. These are Overlook Frames.
Yeah.
My boy, he's a frame maker. He's a glasses maker.
Yeah.
And he's black. The company's black owned. And so I'm representing. He's my sponsor on that.
Man, I love that. I love that you came on here repping black excellence. You know what I'm saying? You wearing black products. I was at the NAACP Awards one day. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the one that you were at. It was previous year, right?
Okay.
And there was another dude. He was so fly, right? And I asked him. I said, "Man, where you get your suit from?" Man, he said, "Man, it's black owned, brother." I said, "Yo, when I get to a next level, I'm wearing nothing but black owned designer." You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I think that's dope that you actually,
Oh, yeah, the suit I'm wearing, too. It's Chinadu style.
yes, sir.
He was the one that did my tuxedo. I firmly believe that the only way that we can grow our community is to get to a point where we represent stepping in and making sure we're purchasing from each other. Now, I get it. I know sometimes people overinflate their prices, but, if you can afford it,
Yeah.
I think black first.
And I think that people pay for overinflated things for other brands that are not
Absolutely.
black owned. So why do we make that? I hate when people make that excuse. Like, you have on 17 Gucci things, bro, and you're trying to tell me that you don't want to go buy from a black owned brand because of their prices.
Yeah.
The price ain't the problem.
Yeah, no, right. It's the thought process,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
That's right. So, other than that, man, you've done some legendary things. I mean, you've submitted
I'm
yourself.
still wondering who this man is talking
Come on,
about.
man.
Is he in the...
NAACP nominated.
Yeah.
NAACP nominated. Not all of us can actually say that. You know what I'm
Actor,
saying?
director, producer, triple
Actor,
threat.
director, producer, writer. I mean, you name it, right? I wanna take this from the origin of your story.
Okay.
How did you get into entertainment? First of all, from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Talk
yeah.
about your origin and how you got into this game.
Oh, that's easy. I've been telling that story lately a lot because I believe that inspiration, motivation is the key to beginning and to embarking. And I tell the story all the time of that at the age of 15, I walked into a movie theater. And there was a trailer I had kept seeing for a while. I said, I'm going to see this movie when it comes out. I'm going to see this movie when it comes out.
Yes, sir.
And I was dating a girl at the time, and the song on the radio was When Doves Cry.
Okay.
And she would call me, because, back in the day, you didn't have, digital CDs and stuff like that. Somebody had to call you, tell you, your song on the radio. So I'm listening, and the whole time, I'm like, I can't wait till this movie come out. And I go and I watch it. The last 20 minutes of Purple Rain, I'm in there, I'm jumping around, I'm screaming, I'm singing.
Yeah.
And I'm walking out this theater, and I'm saying to myself, how do I do this to people? Like what this man has done and these people who were in this film, what they made me feel.
Right.
How do I do that?
Yeah.
How do I do that? I mean, I always had, some kind of artistic gene.
Yeah.
I love music. I was raised listening to Motown like anybody else. Would clean the house on music, and your family would come over and they dance, and you see your parents and your cousins and everybody, aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
But how do me personally, get people to feel what I'm feeling right now?
Right.
By the time, Prince does that last pose, looks over his shoulder, and the music slowly starts up, and, Let's Go Crazy starts. And I'm like, yo, like that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so that's what started it.
Okay.
That's what was the implant of the seed.
Sir.
And I said, okay, so what's the steps, And of course, being young and black and coming from Brooklyn, you're taught that your knowledge is the key, because you're out in the streets or you're in the books. And my mom was she raised 5 boys, and she was very big on making sure that we had some kind of essence of wanting to be better than everybody in regards to the stuff that they chose to do, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't in the streets. I didn't sell. I wasn't, I was always in the books. I'd go to the library and get out 8 books and just read them. And so that was the start of it. Purple Rain, Prince.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how it's always like, it's always something that you're inspired from. And I think that that's important for us as like we network across and work with each other and we're building things together to understand that putting our work out there is important because it sparks the mind of somebody to start something that is according to their purpose and their calling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. You know that old phrase when people say never meet your heroes? Well, I met Prince.
Sheesh.
And I'm happy I met
Right.
Prince, and it was great. You know what I mean? And for me at that time, I was heavily into music, so I figured if I ever meet him, what am I going to say?
Right.
Because I don't get nervous when I meet people of status or
Right.
famous people. Like I'm not a fan like that per se.
Right.
I'm always like, how can I work with this person?
Right.
And that's one thing that impressed Prince because he was like, he kind of kicked back. I said, first off, I want to tell you 2 things. I said, I want to thank you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he says, okay.
Yeah.
And I said, so the second thing I want to say is I want to remix one of your songs. He was like, oh.
Oh, right off the bat with it.
Yeah, when someone like Prince, because he was such a, apprehensive person on fandom and stuff. So, I'm looking over and he's sitting there and I'm like, yo, because my lady friend got up and walked away and I'm looking and I'm doing this. Next thing I know, it's Prince there. And I'm like saying, I know this ain't a dream. Right? I know I'm not imagining this, but it was him.
Yep.
And so, I looked at that opportunity and he said, okay, write this down. And he told me his attorney's number and everything.
Wow.
Well, Londell, I can say his name, Macmillan never got back to me, but it's all good. I got to meet Prince and I was like, God, you can take me now. You can take me. I'm good.
The fact that you even had the opportunity to sit there with a legend and talk to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
And you had the courage and you just had the right mindset when you were actually there to get knowledge and information or to shoot your shot. I
there
think.
were no nerves. It was like, it was time. I was very grateful.
yeah.
I was very grateful.
What happened after that meeting?
Okay, so after that meeting, like I said, I was heavily into music, and so and there was an R&B artist that I worked with named Rome.
Yeah.
He had a hit single called "I Belong to You."
Oh wow, he's from my hometown.
Rome, man.
I
They
love
took
that
it back.
song. Yeah, Ben Harbor.
Ben Harbor, Michigan, and Rome had came through the town that I was in, Augusta, Georgia, and I was because I moved from New York to Augusta. My mom was always big on making sure her sons had a safe space, to do whatever. And after I graduated high school, I decided I wanted to go into music full time. Yeah. And to her dismay, I went into music, and I developed myself as a great producer and writer. And so I met Rome, and I said, "Listen, I got some fire hits, man." And, he was doing a concert.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and he said, okay, all right, so, bring the tape. And we went back to the hotel room. I played it. He said, I'm flying you and your boy out to L.A.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got out to L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, when he told me, I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's another missed dream. It's another, but I'm going to keep going. I don't care what you do. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I had a plane ticket. Next thing I know, I was in L.A. Next thing I know, I'm like, yo, like I'm at, concerts and stuff in L.A. and I'm seeing L.A. and I'm like, okay, this is part of it.
It's real.
Things didn't work out with him because it was a serious change in the music industry. And I think historically people should know about what happened in the 90s. Like, it wasn't by accident that things shifted to hip hop and rap.
Mm-hmm.
It was purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
They destroyed the R&B audience, and they destroyed the R&B artists. And so labels were folding, people losing their jobs. You never really hear anybody talking about it. I plan on doing a documentary about it because I think people need to know. Right. Because when you look at today's music, right, we already know, it's all tone.
For sure.
But when you look at the kids are listening to what we listened to in the 90s.
Yeah, they don't have. I was just telling my friend that they don't have like the age appropriate music that we had. Like we had Bow Wow, we had Lil Romeo, we had Sierra.
Right.
Like girl groups and Destiny's Child. Things that were age appropriate. And even then, there were even innuendos. So it's like if you're a child and you don't know, you don't know.
Good.
And then as an adult, you can vibe to it because you know.
Yeah.
But non-existent.
Yeah, we're stuck in the '90s as far as people who love R&B and hip hop.
You touched on a good moment where you said they killed the R&B artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I say this often. Like from the '70s and '80s, it was so much love in music, and then, you know, I mean, we love some gangster rap, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was very obvious as to what they were doing in the industry and what they were trying to promote, and obviously what it's led to today. You know what I'm saying? You know, we get the sex, money, violence, drugs in every song now.
Yeah, it's all
You know what I'm
tone. Tone is a thing that's a base thing. You know, if you know anything about chakras and stuff like that, that lower chakras hit. So they know about that. I mean, you know, after the '80s, when we got into the '90s, of course, some of the R&B artists and some of the hip hop artists used it to make great records, right? But now it's the number one thing they start with. They start with the tones. They start with the melodies. Everything sounds like a lullaby. Yeah. You know, there's nothing really smart in the lyrical content, right? Yeah. And so for me, it was a thing of, okay, now I'm in LA. All right, what's going on? And, you know, things didn't work out with Rome. So I was stuck, and I said, okay, well, I got to figure out what the next step is. I'm not going back to Augusta with nothing. I worked too hard to get here. Yes, sir. I'm in the opportunity of making it happen. So, you know, you struggle, you know what I'm saying? And I can say that my lights were only turned off once. But, you know, God is good, and he kept me. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, if I can't do music, because everything I said was folding. It was crazy to watch, seeing people like, yo, I can't get a check. I'm like, wow. Yeah. And I said, well, I got martial arts skill. So let me go and learn how to do stunts. Yeah. Right? And I learned, but I didn't like it because I was meeting cats like, yeah, I broke this bone, I broke that bone, I popped my eye out. I was like, yeah, that ain't going to be me.
Yeah.
Right. That's crazy.
Not for a check. Not for a check. You know, that you might not be able to spend after because you didn't hurt yourself.
Oh, boy, the guy that taught me, I've had two teachers. The Art Camacho was my fight choreographer, right? A coach, he taught me that. And this other guy, I can't mention his name, but I mean, his body was so discombobulated, he could barely walk sometimes. Damn. But he was paid, right? Yeah. And I'm like, that trade doesn't look good. It's not fair, right? Doesn't look fair to me. No common sense in that. I'm a pragmatic man. I'm like, I don't like that. Right. So I said, okay, well, let me get this fight choreography stuff down, and then let me just, you know, go into just being a stunt coordinator. Right. And I did that for some time. But when I met Art Camacho, who does a lot of action films and stuff, he looked at me, he said, kid, you got all the moves. You're great. You're awesome. You could be the next Black Bruce Lee. Right. But you suck as an actor. That's exactly how I said it.
Sometimes you gotta hear it.
Oh, man, I'm in this community center, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I get better? That's always been my mindset, right? I'm going to work. Yeah. If I'm working hard, what I got to do? I got to work harder, right? Absolutely. And so I said, all right, well, what do I do? He says, well, take a college class, a course, a 101. He said, go to an acting school. You know, they got different places you can go. And I found a space that I stayed at for 6 years, and I worked diligently. I was there 3 to 4 days a week. Yeah. I did whatever I needed to do because I didn't have money. Yeah. Found a way to make sure I took care of that. Ate donuts, water, and eggs as my staple of diet. The donuts is manna from heaven, the water's from the rock, and the birds, the hens that God sent to Israel. I said, that I can live on that. They lived on it, I can live on it. Yes, you know what I mean? Yes, and I did that for about 2 to 3 years, and became an amazing, powerful actor, and just started booking. Just going in, and I'm not an auditioning actor. I hate auditioning, but I'd go in and work through the nerves because there's a nervousness in normal behavior with people, interactivity, right? And then there's a nervousness of rejection. Oh yeah. And I heard one of the guests on your show talking about rejection and being turned away and being turned down. So I had to learn how to combat all of that. Absolutely. And so I could say I'm never nervous. And people are like, there's no way you can't never be nervous. Right. And I said, no. I remember my coach saying what it would take to get to that point of never being nervous. So I'm never nervous. Now, I get anxious, of course. Yeah. And I do my best to pray it away and focus on other things. I give it 20 minutes, lay down, go to sleep, or give it a day. It doesn't get more than that. But nervousness, no. 100,000 people, I can go out in front of them and say, hey, what's up?
I feel like I can relate to that a little bit, man. When I first got my audition for an in-person audition for a movie, very first one, I just knew I was about to kill the role. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to walk in here, right? And you know how you walk in auditions. This is pre-COVID, everybody's in there, right? You walk into a room. I didn't know. It's my first time, right? So I walk in, I see a whole bunch of people that kind of look like me.
Right.
Right?
You talking about in the lobby or
Yeah, in the lobby,
Okay,
in the lobby, right?
yeah.
So I'm like, dang,
Right.
like, y'all all okay. Well, that's what we doing today, right? I knew the lines, right? I'm rehearsing the lines, the whole way in the car, right? I get in the room. It's just two people. You know what I'm saying? It's just the director and the writer. They're like, all right, yeah, the director like, I'm gonna read it with you. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't remember one line. I couldn't remember one line. You know what I'm saying? I said, you know what, man? It's my I said, it's my first time. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the opportunity, right?
Wow.
And so the dude was like, yo, keep working, right? I got in the car. I said, dang.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling.
Yeah, it's acting for me.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the worst feeling.
But I'm a champ. So, I had to bounce back. You know what I'm saying? And I think that rejection is really what fuels you. And you lose that nervousness once you overcome that.
Yeah, and it's another thing of knowing that you're enough.
Absolutely.
Because, we all come from different backgrounds, right? And I can say this to your audience, as far as black people, we don't really have a space that we fit. Even though this, I hear people all the time say, yo, I want to get out of this country. I want to get out of this country. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Your ancestors built this country. This is your country.
That's right.
Now, I get it. You may go over to Paris. You may go over someplace they treat you nice for a minute. But at any given time, they can kick you out.
Yeah.
They ain't kicking us out of here.
Yeah.
And guess what? Every time they mistreat us and they say we don't need you,
Right.
we step back and then they come back, we need you. Right?
That's
What
right.
do they do with the CW, UPN, WB, right?
Yeah.
Fox, all those stations? What do? They built on the back of us.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And then when they didn't need us, they pushed us away.
Yeah.
And then what happened? There was a small time after that strike when nothing was going on.
Yeah.
Then next thing you know, you see black faces popping up on different shows and different things happening.
Yeah.
So you have to know yourself, and that's what I'm saying. The nervousness leaves when you know who you are.
Yeah.
When you accept who you are, when you know you're enough, when you know, okay, look, I may be wearing a $20 suit, but the way we wear it, the way we rock it,
Yes, sir.
can't nobody rock it like us.
Yes, sir.
We set trends, right? TikTok wouldn't exist without us.
Yeah.
Instagram wouldn't exist without us. Facebook wouldn't exist without us. Twitter. Well, they can have Twitter.
Right.
They can have that. But all them other ones,
Yeah.
that's
But
us.
Black Twitter, everybody know Black Twitter is the best.
Well,
Right,
that's,
right,
that's
right.
my
We
point.
popping.
You see what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
It would be bland without us.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
facts.
So for me, the power of learning who I am is responding and reminding myself that I am a black man first.
Yes, sir.
I'm a man of God first, but
Yes,
then
sir.
I'm a black man in the country that I know my ancestors built.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
What it like? I guess I want to ask this as a woman because I'll never know. But as a black man, what does that process of finding yourself look like? Because I feel like you guys don't really have the space mentally or physically to really do that.
Yeah.
So what does that really look like? Or what advice would you give to men who are trying to figure it out? And I feel like a lot of men are not even aware that they don't know themselves, and that's why they behave the way that they behave. So when you said that, I'm like, okay, so what does getting to know yourself look like? What are some practices that they could do?
Sister, listen, I counsel a lot and I speak to people a lot. And one of the things that I've learned is that you have to be okay with nothing in order to be relevant and powerful with something.
Yes, sir.
Right? So young black boys, okay, we're taught very early on, you got to be the man of the house.
Right.
You don't know what it is to even be a man.
At all.
Right? So, the reason why you see a lot of this mental stuff happening where we can finally speak out is because there's a point where now we ain't got no choice. We got to, because there are a lot of brothers losing it. And they're not, and social media helps make things a little rougher. It gives information, but it also says, you see a guy, in front of this car, and it may not even be his, he's flossing, right?
Yeah.
Faking the funk, right?
Yeah.
But in his mind, he feels that's what he needs to be the man he needs to be.
Yeah.
And so what I take into account and what I do as responsible for me, I see a young black girl, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She'll get it. You're beautiful. Look at you, little queen.
Yeah.
A young black brother, little king. And I've stopped young brothers
Yes, sir.
and spoke to them and said, you enough.
Yeah.
So what it is the thing of we're taught that money is the answer, right? But then we have figures who have money that ain't acting right. So it becomes this big cycle. It's a vicious cycle that happens where we don't know that we are enough. And you have to see, I tell brothers this all the time, not to get too in depth, but
Yeah.
I say, you know, you're judged by what you have, and then you judge yourself by what you don't have. Right?
Mhm.
So
That's true.
you can have, okay, let's take a 12-year-old young black boy. Now, at that age, he hasn't really defined himself. He doesn't know anything. He's coming into his own. He's been told by family, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, but the world's saying the total opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're seeing on the news that cops are killing kids and rounding up kids their age.
Yeah.
So they don't understand their worth. You see, young women are taught, you better value yourself. They have a strong, you see what I'm saying? They have a strong system of other sisters that's going to be there.
Right.
Brothers don't know how to be there for each other.
Right.
They're not taught that. They're taught, yo, you got to watch out for the ops. You know what I'm saying? You better watch out for the ops. You better not be caught slipping. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Fight for that girl if you really want her. What? What are you talking about?
Right.
Be about your bet. I didn't know how to drive until I was 25.
Sheesh. You waited a minute.
I didn't know how to, but this is even worse. I didn't know how to balance a checkbook until I was 28.
Okay. That's something
When
that
we
we
used to write
definitely,
checks.
we need to
Yeah.
learn, you know what I'm saying, from an early age. But
Sure.
you're right.
But to answer her question, basically, it's a thing of understanding, because she says, how do you find that?
Yeah.
Mentors, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mentors. You know, I was raised by a single mom, so
Right.
she couldn't give me everything. She gave me what she gave me.
Absolutely.
And I'm very big on taking young people and taking them out of their neighborhoods, because you got to see other stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
See, I've been out of the country. I've been, you know, that's why you see a lot of young ladies and a lot of young brothers
Yeah.
who get into the military,
Yeah.
right? And then they're different.
Yeah.
When you meet them, you're like, you different. You been in college, you know? They just seen things. They done been out.
Mhm.
So I'm a firm believer. My mom used to send us to camp.
Yeah.
We hated it, but we went.
Yeah.
We went for a summer. She would
Yeah.
trips. You come to that bus and waiting. You're not going home, go back. You're going to get assigned a new cabin. So it'd be like 2 months we were gone. She would get rid of us for 2 months.
That's crazy.
But we were in the country. We were in the woods and seeing cows and learning how to swim,
Mhm.
which is another thing. I'm very big on black people knowing how to swim.
Right,
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of us don't. You meet people, I don't know how to swim.
Yeah.
It's because we didn't have access to pools.
Yeah.
But I went to a camp and they taught me how to swim because my
Yeah.
mama didn't know.
Yeah.
She don't know how to swim. So if she wasn't going to teach me, my brothers weren't going to teach me, who's going to teach me? Throw me in the pool and, you'll get it? No.
That's
you're gonna
exactly what
drown.
happened to me.
They threw you in the pool. Wow.
My daddy threw me in that pool.
Wow.
Trauma.
I know how to swim though.
But you
Right.
know how to
Absolutely.
swim. You know.
I survived.
Yeah. Listen, I never question any father who understands that he's got to, especially when it comes to women of color, black women, that they got to fight hard. They have to work hard because a lot of men aren't really, you know. And I get that. And I'm big on women learning martial arts and self-defense as well. I'm very big on that. And I've given programs for that because, you know, I was a victim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know what being a victim is. So when women be like, you don't know what it is? Oh, no, I actually do. You know, and that's why I'm so passionate about, especially the culture in full, learning
Absolutely.
self-defense. Because we do have a lot of people losing their mental aptitude and attacking. And so we need to know how to handle that.
That's true.
You've
Did
tapped
I
into
answer your question?
no.
You did. Thank you.
No, I mean, you did a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know, you dropped some gems right there, especially about, you know, young black men being able to stand up for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I think that shows in your foundation and who you are today and what you're showcasing as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And when we get back from this commercial break, we're going to tap into who he is as a filmmaker and his NAACP nominated film, man.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, a word from our sponsors, 24/7 Live Culture. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, man. Look, we've been hearing some gems from the man himself, Troy Skinner, but I really want to tap into his filmmaking journey, man, because you took a new step forward, not just from stuntman to actor, but you said, you know what, I'm going to make the films myself.
Yeah.
Right. How did that process come about for you, and when did you start to say, I'm going to do it myself? And what was the first project that you actually put out?
Very good questions. I'll tell you this. When I was in acting class, and this is a different time and a different era, there weren't scenes for black actors. We were doing, you know, scenes from plays like the Death of a Salesman and, you know, stuff like that. And I'm saying to myself, well, when I just went and auditioned, they wanted me to be a thug, and there ain't no roles like that to practice, because I'm big on practicing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let me write a couple of these scenes.
Right.
You know, I was always, as a kid, a short story writer. I could write short stories, about 6 or 7. But I didn't understand the process fully, but I said, you know, let me start writing. So I wrote some scenes, and I would bring them in and let other actors do it, and I'd watch.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's what developed my writing skill. My acting made my writing better. My writing made my acting better.
Yes, sir.
And so I said, okay, well, the strike happened. Boom.
Yeah.
And it was like, no work for black people. We the first to go, right?
Yeah, of course.
We first on the chopping block.
Absolutely.
No work. And I said, okay, this ain't cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, let me step into finding out how this is done. So I started learning film production.
Okay.
And I can attribute a lot of my my knowledge to the Hillenbrand brothers.
Yeah.
2 brothers that gave me a lot of knowledge about making films and putting films together. And so I didn't like what was going on, I you know, seeing the scenes in class. So I wrote a short called Brotherly Love. It was a 1-act scene.
Yeah.
It was called Brotherly Love. And I brought it in, and 2 of the actors in the class, I said, I want you, my best friend Farley, and this other actor named Sheldon, said, we're going to work on this. And guess what? We're going after we work on this, we're going to produce this and make this a short.
Yeah.
You know, and so we did it in class. Everybody was like, wow, this is amazing. It's awesome. And then I blew off the dust when it was time.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to make this short. But then I had another short that I wrote, a 1-act scene. And I said, let me do this. So I did 2 in 1 weekend.
Hustling.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
I said, let me do this. So Brotherly Love was the first one. It won the San Diego Black Film Festival. I won Best Actor.
Yes, sir.
It won Best Short. And then we went on a big festival run with it, and it did phenomenal. And the greatest gift that I got from that was a school teacher from Chicago. She called me up out of the blue, and she said, Mr. Skinner, my name is so-and-so, and I watched your film, and I just wanted to ask you something. I'm like, yes. She said, is there a possibility of me getting a copy of this film so I can show, you know, we have a real big violence problem, and I watched your film, and it made me cry, and I just think it can affect the kids in class.
Right.
And I cried. I was like, oh, my God, yes. That's why I
Impact.
made it. Yeah. That's why I made it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I sent her 3 copies. I said, all 3 of them, keep 1 for yourself and 2 use for the school. And she hit me back, and some of the kids emailed me, and I said, that's why I did this.
Yeah,
That's going back to that Prince moment. And, you know, how can I make people feel what I feel right now? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what got me into directing, because it was a necessary thing.
Right.
And at that time, I'm going to tell you, you go into a office and you're talking to a producer, and you say, I wrote a script, I want to direct it, and I want to act in it. They go,
Right.
stop.
Right.
Oh, please. You know, you want to, wait a minute, hold on, let me get this correct. You wrote this, you want to produce it, you want to direct it and start? Oh.
Right,
Who you
right.
think you are?
Yeah.
Right.
But that was for all actors. It wasn't
Yeah.
just for us for us as a people, it was forget it.
Right.
You couldn't even say direct. They were like, direct?
Right.
You're not John Singleton. You're not, you know, you didn't go to USC. You didn't go to, you know,
Yeah.
NYU.
Yeah.
You know, what are you talking about? You're not Spike Lee.
Right.
You have credit cards that you can, you know, take and, you know, make
Right.
this movie.
Right.
Because we're not doing it for you. And then for me also, it was always a thing that the pleasure that I made to my community, because I'm very Black-centric,
Yep.
was that there has to be a level of redemption in my films.
Yes, sir.
Always. There has to be something, whether I don't care if it's the worst character, there's got to be some redeeming quality. There has to be some redemptive theme about this. There has to be a full circle. And so all of the films, if you watch any film that I've ever done, whether it's rated R or whether it's PG, you'll see that.
Why is that important to you?
Because it's important that people see Black men with a different lens and Black women with a different lens, contrary to the narrative of what the media spins today.
Real.
You know, I mean, Sexy Red is what they see. as a woman, as a black woman. You just sat here and told me all your PhDs and everything you got going on. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
That's
Absolutely.
powerful, and you're beautiful at the same time.
Thank
so
you.
show that it can be done, right? And so for me, it's an issue that people don't realize that there's something that's being done to make us be seen a certain way. I'll tell you the story. So when I went to Romania, I had a stunt gig. I was the American stunt coordinator for a feature film, and I was flown out to Romania. It was actually the first time I ever went out of the country. And I go and I'm walking down the street and I see this group of Romanian kids, right? And I got on my Timbs and I got my bomber on. I'm straight New York when it's cold, you know. Got my skull cap on. And I'm like, you know, the martial artist in me is like, I hope these kids don't have to lose their life tonight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
for whatever.
Yeah, you know.
Don't judo chop them.
You know
Don't
what I'm
do
saying?
it.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm on, you know, do my best. I always give space and stuff.
Right.
And I see one of them, he looks, you know, and I'm like, oh, he's going to say something. And he throws his arms up and he goes, nigga.
Oh, man.
My nigga.
Yo.
That's what he said.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
And I said, okay, they're not a threat.
Right.
But when you go over there and you look at the stations that's playing, all they were listening to and watching was MTV.
Yeah.
So that was their impression of who a black man is.
A nigga.
A nigga.
That's crazy.
You
That's
know?
crazy.
And he said, take me to LA with you. They stopped me and talked to me and, you know, they smoking and, you know, at that age they can smoke at any age over there and they're smoking and take me to LA with you, my nigga. You know.
Yo, that's crazy
Listen,
that
I
you
would
like.
have to tell him, like,
you-
don't say that no more.
You probably thinking like, dang, why would he say that to me? But in their mind, they're thinking
It's
that's
normal.
what I saw on
It's
TV.
what they see.
You know
It's
what I'm
what
saying?
they see. So narrative and visualization of who we are is highly important.
Absolutely.
And I've accepted the responsibility of saying no matter how bad. I mean, I got characters. You see, I've had Jewish people hit me up. It's like, that movie is horrible. That guy shoved his face into the thing, and how you know, is that your culture? And I'm like, that's some aspects of the culture. But did you not see that this guy overcame the death in his family and in his life and the love of his life, and he moved on to new love, and he's a great father? You don't want to see that, but you see all the bad stuff. See?
And that's the point, huh?
That's the point.
I love that.
So you talk about narrative, man. And I think that's so real. You know what I'm saying? Especially, you know, we have a responsibility as black culture creators here. You know what I'm saying? To be able to paint a new narrative for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, you know, the sexy reds. You know what I'm saying? They're giving out a certain image, and that's influencing a certain level of society here. I mean, you can't deny that it influences people. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about influence, you know, you have a film called A New Life. You know what I'm saying? So I want to talk about, you know, how you came up with this film, the concept behind it, and what you were trying to portray with this film.
Good. Okay. Again, during the strike, when that happened, I wrote A New Life in 1999, 2000. And at that time, they were, you know, the movies that were out was like The Best Man. Remember The Best Man?
Yeah,
You know, we
course.
had New Jack City, we had Boys in the Hood,
Paid in
we
Full.
had Paid in Full, but we didn't have these. I didn't see the respectable father who wanted to be a father to a kid.
Yeah. Okay.
That didn't exist. Daddy's Girls came out after
Daddy's
I wrote
Little
my
Girls,
script.
yeah.
Daddy's Little Girls came out after I wrote my script.
Yeah.
So people was like, "Oh, I think somebody got your idea." And then I said, "It's nothing close to what I'm doing." with
Yeah.
My life."
Yeah.
You know, A New Life is a spiritual film in a sense. You know, and so I said, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Right. And I had met someone who had lost his wife at an early age. Dude was like 22, black brother, and he lost his wife to cancer. And I said, "Man, how you doing that?" He said, "I ain't been with nobody for 6 years." I was like, wow. And that intrigued me. And there's different stories from different black couples that, like pregnancy on the side of the road. I didn't make it to the hospital. I had my baby on the side of the road. All those different things I wanted to see. I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I wanted to see that. Yeah, The Best Man and, you know, The Wood and all these films, they did great. Love and Basketball, great.
Yeah.
Where's the dad that's single
Right.
raising his child? Because we always see the single mama.
Always.
Where's the single dad?
Right.
And so I wrote it. I wrote it in probably a month.
Okay.
maybe 2 months.
Yep.
And I went out and I said, okay, I'm gonna have Morris Chestnut star as the lead. I'm gonna have Lisa Ray star as the mom.
Yep.
I'm gonna have Rosalind Sanchez come in. You know, all these things that they tell you got to do in order to get a film off the ground.
Yeah.
You got to get names. And
Yeah.
I met Lisa Ray and I gave it to her and I said, I'd love for you to play this role. And she said, okay. She took them in a little envelope and you never heard back from her. And no matter what I did, I was chasing Morris Chestnut for 2 to 3 years, could not find him. People was like, he hang out over here. I'm there waiting all day. Nobody seen Morris Chestnut. Go away, come back. You know, he was there the other day, you know. And I'm like, okay, Rosalind Sanchez, forget it. There was no way. So I said, you know what, let me put this aside. And I started writing other stuff. I had a class, the Breaking Through Acting Workshop.
Okay.
I was coaching for 12 years at that time. And I had an actor in the class that I saw on stage, and I said, you know, I think you can play this. Yeah. And I think we can all do this. And so I gave every one of my actors a role because I believe in actors. And if I pour into you, I believe you. And I'm one of those people where it's like, not only do I say I believe you, I prove it.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm going to give you a role. What you going to do with it, right?
Right.
And so we got together during COVID.
Yep.
Lockdown happened and nobody was working. SAG went around. Nobody was nothing. And I said, we're going to make this movie. Yeah. And we shot it and finished it. It took me almost a year to 2 years. I had some health issues to finish the edit. I shot it. I directed it. I wrote it. I produced it. I edited it. Damn near almost colored it, but I didn't. I got a colorist. And got the distribution and we got it out.
That's amazing.
Yo, that's major, man. I mean, one, just to play all the roles like that, where you had to wear all those different hats, is magnificent. You know what I'm saying? That's a true testament to your own willpower. You know what I'm saying? And I love that you tried to tell a different narrative where it was, okay, let me tell the single father role part of it. You know what I'm saying? And you've had a large reception. You know, one, the film was NAACP nominated. Talk about, you know, the process of that and, you know, how that has upgraded your career. And also, you know, how did you go about marketing the film to actually get seen?
Wow. Big shout out. I got to take a second and a huge grand thank you to my manager, Shaw Ross of Ross Stevens Artist Entertainment. She came on board and was very instrumental. She's a producer of it as well. But she was very instrumental in helping to guide me in a lot of ways. She was actually the person that, you know, moved towards it being in the NAACP. Okay. So the nomination happened from her work. And that happened, and it shocked the crap out of me because I was like, what? They actually doing this? They're doing this? And so that was great. That was great. And the whole process, she worked through all of that as well. The marketing, and let's talk about that for a while, because marketing is highly important with projects, more now than ever.
Sure.
More like even I'm doing an action film, I'm putting that together. My marketing plan is, you know, it's like that's the main thing right now. It's like, all the, you know, lenses and all that. Yeah, that's fun, that's great. But how are we going to get this out to everybody?
No, that's real. I think even that's one of the biggest things that we need to know as independent filmmakers is the marketing, because so many people have dope ideas, you know what I'm saying, but actually getting it out and getting it seen and doing it yourself is something that we need to know. So go ahead and talk about that and how you were able to actually get it seen on a major scale to where you had 8 million impressions across, you know what I'm saying?
Across all platforms. And again, thanks to Shar, she was very instrumental in staying on me, because a lot of the marketing, you know, you would hope that your cast and crew and everybody would, you know, and I have one person here, she helped, Joan Moulton, but a lot of that credit goes to my manager, Shar, and Kendra Mack, who was in the cast. She was very big and very instrumental on pushing it, because it takes that much energy, right? You got to stay up with the groups. You got to stay in touch with the fans. You got to do different types of trailers and different spots and different artwork. And, you know, then you got to take the different streaming platforms you're on and say, let everybody know it's on here, it's on there. You know, granted, making a great film, that's everything, right? Because that sets you apart from the trash, right? But people love trash too. You know what I mean? I'm watching them like, man, they love it, you know? And so My manager was very big and instrumental in saying, Choice, most of this I know you're going to have to do. I'm still marketing it. All this time later, when I go on the To-Be Face groups and I post, they say, show me something good, y'all. That's the thing about the black community that people don't understand. You know, for us back in the day, it was the churches, right? It was the churches and radio stations. That's how we knew where to go, what to do to assemble everything, you know. And now it is Facebook. Yeah. It is Facebook. Yeah. And guess what? The number one consumer of all media or anything on the planet is black women. Y'all have more power than you realize. You know, you don't want to have the power of a man and punch a man in the face. You want to have that power to move. You want to have that power to manipulate. That's a power that a man will never really truly have. To organize. You see? Yeah. And so for me, it was the strong. My mom was instrumental in pushing my film. She'd make these little cutouts and pass. You gotta see my his film, A New Life. It's on, you know. and I'm always embarrassed, but at the same time, I knew what she was doing. Yeah. You know, she'd be like, "Give me print out 200." I'm like, 200, and she passed them out. I need another 200. I'm like, who are you passing this stuff out? So the women in my life were the most instrumental in helping me to move and to be strong and to have resolve because it takes a lot. People don't know it takes a lot. Right. You know, when you're sitting in that editing chair, okay, let me do this spot. You're doing the artists, all the actors, you're doing different interviews, and then some of them not even posting it, they could care less. Right. And so now where I'm at, the next level for marketing, I don't even want to work with people who working on themselves. If I go, like people say all the time, hey, I want to audition for you. Okay, and I'm not an Instagram numbers person, right. But I am about engagement. Yeah. I go to your page and I see, well, what you going, if I see cat videos and food and you and your girlfriend locked up or you and your boyfriend locked up, you know, locked up together and, you know, and it ain't got nothing to do with your career as an actor or as a filmmaker, we ain't got nothing to talk about.
You want to see the work.
Yeah.
I have to see that you understand what it takes to be in a movie because even the studios get it now. Mm-hmm. It's part of the marketing plan. Yeah. Yeah. The studios will say we don't want to see nobody with less than 100,000 Instagram followers. Right. They real with it. And the casting directors put it in the breakdown. Yeah. Must have a strong Instagram following. Must be great at influencing. Right. You know, but people got 500 followers, and you see little decorative. Oh, look at my baby's shoes. You know, but then won't even say that they're an actor or filmmaker in their bio. It's like people come up to me all the time and say, I'm an actor, this and that, okay. And I go to Instagram and I say, how do I know that?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, you got to go to IMDb. Well, how would I know that?
Right.
Where is it on here? You see what I'm saying?
You don't even have your IMDb link in your bio at least.
Yeah, where's your link tree? You should have and everything listed. Yeah. That means they ain't doing the work. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's work. It's work to make a movie. It's work to market it. Yeah. But now you got to start from the marketing before you even make the movie. Right. And who's your core audience? Do you have an email list? Right. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have your Instagram page should be 6 months before you even start shooting. Right. This is coming. Giveaways. Right. Like I'm seeing all of that with new eyes because to get where we got with A New Life, I look back and I said, wait a minute, hold on, wasn't that many people? They were all there when we shot it. Right. Where they at now? Right. And so it's imperative to understand that marketing aspect because listen, the powers that be, let's say that, because I don't want to offend nobody. Right. They know more about the black community than we do. But I know my audience. Yeah. I know my audience. Yeah. And Tyler Perry, I'm not a big fan of the films, but he knows his audience. Yeah. And that's why he's the way he is with it, Yeah. He going to keep doing what they're going to keep watching.
Absolutely. No, that's very real. I mean, you dropped some real gems on how to market not only yourself, but films. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, going to today's day and age, you got to be on social media. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're in this type of industry. You know what I'm saying? Why should we have to go look for who you are if that's who you say you are? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very real. And then you also touched on Facebook. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people are overlooking the power of Facebook and the power of Facebook groups and actually being able to connect with people.
Owns Instagram.
Man, crazy.
I mean, you know, I never got off of Facebook. When
Right.
people was like, I ain't on. It was like, okay.
Right. There's so many groups on Facebook, like just Tubi groups, that you could just drop your. Cause I've seen you drop some stuff in the Tubi groups. You know what I'm saying?
Dropped it this
You know,
morning.
you know what I'm
I
saying?
don't, my poster goes up or the video.
'Cause you just made me say, oh, I need to go drop my.
Yeah.
my-
Yeah. And this is the thing. We have to understand that we're dealing with a
Yeah.
glutted, convoluted market, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can make a film now.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you can do one of quality, you can do one of, you know, great standing, and it has a great message and a great story.
Yeah.
But it's surrounded by a lot of other stuff. And you got to figure out, okay, how do I reach my audience? You have to know your diaspora.
Right.
You have to know your audience.
Right.
You have to know who you're making it for. It can't just be, well, I made it because I made it for me. No, nobody cares about what you think.
Yeah.
We want to be entertained.
Yeah.
You understand? We don't,
sure.
you know, and it can't be a heavy message anymore. It can't be,
Right.
you know, I made this because I'm part Black Korean and Native American, and I want people to understand what that's like. It's like, we can't. We
Right.
don't, you know, you got to make a story where that's just a byproduct.
Yeah.
But make a great story. You know, everybody understands love. Everybody understands death. Everybody, you know,
Yeah.
makes,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the central. That's where you start. Everybody understands revenge. Everybody, you know, you start there, and then you can give those little things. And stop making all these movies where everybody either white or everybody either black.
Right. Right.
What world is that?
That's facts.
Yeah.
We live in LA. LA.
All type of people.
My film, you saw in A New Life, he's
Right.
Asian. I got an Asian in there. I got some white people in there.
Right.
You know, I'm from New York. You from Miami. So, you know, you got all different types of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think because what that does is, yes, it empowers the people you're working with. They all get an opportunity, but it diminishes the reality. It's kind of like Friends. I never watched an episode.
Yeah.
I'm in New York. That's not New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had Colombian friends. I had
Yeah.
friends from Ecuador. I had friends from Chinese, friends from Japanese. You know, I believe in the real world, you know, representation.
Yeah.
Not DEI, but really representing correctly.
Yeah.
And I think that sets things apart too. It makes the films better when it's actual.
It did for A New Life. There was a lot of people that could relate with it. You know, it sure did.
I mean, man, you've done some amazing things, man. I mean, your career is already legendary. You know what I'm saying? It's cemented. I mean, how many people can actually say they were NAACP nominated? How many people can actually say they were a stuntman? How many people can say they actually met Prince and were inspired by Prince himself, right? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you've got a lot to, you know, be thankful for and celebrate, right? So, you know, I know that's not the end of the story.
No.
So what's next?
Okay, one I can talk about, one I can't.
Gotcha.
I'm doing an action film, and basically it's going to raise the bar.
Yeah.
I love action. I grew up watching action. It's funny, these next two projects, one's an action and one's a horror. And the action is the one I'm looking to do that first quarter of next year.
Okay.
So I'm currently in process of casting and making things happen. You know, I'm working on the names first because you got to have the names, get the distribution locked in.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to hopefully February, March be shooting this in Atlanta. That's the
Yes,
action
sir.
film. The horror film is The Legend of Cicero.
Okay.
And basically, that one is basically a story about a Civil War soldier from during the antebellum South. And he runs off during the Civil War. He becomes a soldier. He comes home to retrieve his wife.
Right.
And the ex-slave master kills him and his wife. So we jump to years later and we find out that there were some rings that he had that kind of made it to where he could go into the rings. And then whoever wears the ring,
Yep.
he comes out through them and he takes vengeance.
Sheesh.
So, yeah, that's something. But it's been hard because, you know, it's not that my culture don't want to see that.
Yeah.
We want our own Jason. We want to, I mean, yeah, we got Candyman, but Candyman
Right.
was running after the white chick, right?
Right.
You know, right? I mean,
Yeah,
let's keep it real. He was
true.
running after the white chick.
Yeah, no facts.
No, we need somebody who's going to hold it down, and
Yeah.
he's, you know, he's that Jason because Jason is an icon to
Yeah.
people, and you know, so we're working very hard on that one, and I'm pretty sure we'll get it off the ground. But I think I have to do this action first to come back around and say, listen, this is why I'm asking for this amount, you know. And then I have two shorts that are moving on the festival circuit.
Yes, sir.
One is Two Killers in a Car, which you asked about.
Yeah.
It was fun. That was something that I did in one night. and I wanted to tell the black male's perspective on today's climate.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so it's very funny, but it's smart humor. And so we pretty much, I can say this right now, have been turned down by every film festival we submit to.
Jeez.
And it's only 9 minutes,
Yep.
and it's well done. It looks like it was shot on the Alexa, so
Yep.
there's no excuse. But I know what the excuse is. You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. And then the other one is basically called My Brother's Reaper. It was one of my students. He wrote it and he produced it, and I said, I'll direct it for you. I'll shoot it for you. And we shot it in a day. And it's basically a revenge story, basically, of a black man who catches the sheriff that allowed the death of his brother to happen, and how he's going to deal with it. It's very tense. It's a thriller, gothic, Southern Gothic thriller. It's really good.
Come on, man. I'm inspired just hearing it, man. You
Yeah,
know,
we got more black people going into the horror space, and that's a beautiful thing because,
is.
like I said, they really don't tap into it.
absolutely.
Because the thing is that everyone wants to do something different. And I get that. You want to, there's nothing new under the sun. You want to do something different. But the essence of who we are as people, we still want to go in, sit in the theater, and detach from the political sphere, detach from the problems of the world. And then we got to sit, and you're going to tell us more about political sphere and more about the problems of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why Deadpool did so good. And right before that,
it was good. Though.
right?
I ain't
And right
gonna lie,
before
it was
that,
good.
you had Will Smith and Martin
Yeah.
kick the box office open. But they were terrified. They were thinking, this is the end of the box office.
Yeah.
Take two brothers to come and show, we're going to do some action. And it's a simple story.
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing, I watched it, I didn't see anything in it that was DEI or identity politics or, I didn't see none of that.
Yeah.
I saw two people, bringing in what they need to do in order to make things move forward,
Yes, sir. And I think this was a very informational episode. You know what I'm saying? And, I think we got a lot of gems. So I hope that everybody out there that's watching took some notes from this, man. And especially the filmmakers or even just actors out there of how to actually get things done, how to keep pushing, you know what I'm saying? And how to actually be a stand-up person and stand on some morals, man, and create things that that society can benefit from. And I think that's what you've done with your film, A New Life. And you showed that across your career. And, like you said, NAACP nominated. I know you about to win one. You know what I'm saying? In the future. So that was just the preview, right? Go ahead and tell people where we can follow you.
Yeah, on Instagram it's Darkan2000, DARKAN 2000. I am still on X or Twitter.
Yes, sir.
And that is DARKANENT. I'm on Facebook as Choice J Skinner. And I am on TikTok sometimes, but that's DARKAN 2000 as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you heard it from the man himself, man. Thank you, Choice, for coming through, bro. That was amazing. Hey, that's another dope episode of BoomBox Weekly. I'm Omar Cook.
I'm New.
I'm Troy Skinner.
Hey, tap in, man. Let's go. All love.